City lights blink, but they don't speak. Empty wallets, dreams looking weak. Concrete jungle where love takes a seat. Violence whispers, struggles on repeat. This is the life we know. The highs, the lows, the show. Hearts are heavy, pockets are light.
Good morning. How you doing? My name is Fawn Waterman. I am a children's minister. I am from New York, and I'm happy to be here. I myself have never been homeless, but I have worked when I was in New York. I'm from New York. I have worked in a program where it was like we educated children who lived in shelters. And we would pick up kids from different shelters. And I had to work closely with, I was a teacher, I had to work closely with the social workers and parents of the kids who lived in the shelter. So a lot of our kids came to us. I remember a little girl who came to my class, and it was dead set winter. It had to be like 20-something degrees. The little girl had a sweater on and slippers, like bedroom slippers. And she was dirty. And I would have to literally take her in the bathroom and wash her up because she was disruptive in the classroom. But I had to put two and two together and say she's disruptive because she's not happy with her state of being. And I noticed that there were a lot of kids who were coming into us who were not that they weren't fed, because a lot of parents get welfare and they get food stamps. And the shelter that they were in was a tier 2 shelter where it was actually like an apartment. But everybody just lived in their own space. They didn't have their own rooms, but they had a space that was their own. And they did have food there. They had a kitchen there, so they were well fed, but they weren't well dressed. So I've seen different things. Like I've had parents who were on drugs in the shelter. I had parents who were mentally unstable who were in the shelter, and the kids feel that. You know, I work closely with the kids who would have to, unfortunately the kids knew where I lived because I would take them home on the school bus. And so sometimes the school bus would drop me off because there was we had a matron on the bus. And so the kids knew where I lived. And they would come to my house when their parents wouldn't come home. They would walk all the way to my house, and they would call me out the window because I was a safe place for them, you know. And we had a lot of parents who didn't come back to pick up their kids once they went to school. You definitely saw the effect that the homelessness, that state of homelessness had on those kids. You definitely saw the effect, the mental effect they had on them, the physical effect they had, the emotional effect they had on them. You know, homelessness, there's so many different reasons why people are homeless. And it could be, you know, financially. Somebody loses a job, or somebody gets sick. You know, you can no longer pay your rent, or rent prices. Like every year, your rent goes up. You know, and there's a saying that we're all one check away from being homeless. You know, so it's so many reasons why their parents are homeless, but a child does not understand that. You know, so they're just feeling the effect of whatever that parent is going through, and then being in this place where you came from home, and now you're in this place where there's 50 million people there. You know, and it's dangerous. You know, sometimes it's dirty, sometimes it's dangerous, sometimes it's super loud. Like, it's just so many different situations, you know, and drugs are rampant because it didn't stop. Drug use didn't stop because they're homeless. Now you got other people who live right next door, and they may be on drugs also. So it's all in one place, you know, it's concentrated in one place. And the kids, I see the effect that it has on the children. You know, I didn't work that closely to the parents unless it had to do with the children.
Right.
I think part of the problem, like in talking to a lot of the social workers, and I don't know too much about Florida, but I know in New York, each family, when they're in the shelter, there are a lot of, the family gets like $2,000 to house that family in that shelter. Why wouldn't you take that same money to relocate them into an apartment of their own, give them some job readiness, give them some GED or some mental health, a mental health counselor, because each family, when they're in a shelter, they should have some type of social worker, not just to relocate them, but to actually get them to a place where they're learning how to be a responsible person again, with their families. If you've been homeless for a long time, for whatever your reason is, you're so used to getting those handouts that you don't know how to do for yourself. You give them a place. We've had a person here in Florida who they found an apartment for him. He moved into his own trailer. We actually, myself and my sister actually went and bought like towels and washcloths and dishes and pots and pans, and we celebrated with him. Mm-hmm. He mentally could not deal. He couldn't deal because he wouldn't stop drinking. He wouldn't stop. Nobody did that for him. Nobody gave him that counseling that he needed so that he could stand on his own 2 feet. He was used to going to places like this church to give him those handouts. So they need some type of rehabilitation, some type of counseling to get them back on their feet so they'd be viable people in the world again. Not everybody knows how to take care of themselves. Right. Not everybody knows that, We assume that, these people are in their home, they know how to do that. You can go into some of these houses and they're filthy. I've gone to visit some of my parents and their house is a wreck. And then you wonder why the kids are coming to school like that. But they need services. Unfortunately, Avon Park does not have a shelter. It doesn't have services for homeless people. It doesn't have that mental health service that they need. Unless they Baker Act them and send them to, Peace River, what are you doing with them? Right. You can't just put them in a house. They need services. So that's one of the biggest problems that I think that that America faces right now. We're the only country that doesn't take care of our homeless people. We don't we walk past them. We might give them $1 and that's all we're gonna do, but we don't take care of them. These are people, other countries, they do not have homelessness the way we do. They take care of their elderly, they take care of the people who are mentally challenged, they take care of their children. We're the only people that don't do that. And that's a shame. We should be disturbed by that. We should be disturbed because we're supposed to be Jesus' hands and feet. We're supposed to be the people who look after our own. Way back in biblical times, moms, dads, grandma, grandpa, they lived with your family. You didn't just kick people out when you had a disagreement. And this is what's happening right now, But our government does nothing to help our people. I think one of the biggest things is that we need services. There is no place that they can come for services. Churches can do but so much. Churches are run by donations. We can do but so much. They need to have mental health services, some type of social work facility that they can go to get mental health, to get parent counseling, to get family counseling, to get job readiness, GED, things like that. They need to be taught and rehabilitated, just like they're supposed to do in jail. When you rehabilitate the people and then send them back in society, we need to do that. You can't take people from the street and just put them in a home and then say, I'm done. They need some place where they can have constant services, because it's hard. It's hard on a regular basis for a person who doesn't have those issues to deal with everyday life, paying the bills and the kids and the rent and this and that. That's hard by itself. That comes with its own stresses. But now you're homeless and you might be drug addicted, or you might have mental challenge, or you might just be angry, or whatever you're going through. We don't have any place that these people can come to. You literally find in Avon Park people sleeping anywhere. And it breaks my heart when it gets cold or when it rains and the weather changes. I'm thinking all the time, where are they? What are they doing? Where are they sleeping? I remember it had to be about three years ago. We were going to have a big storm, a big hurricane. And we decided we were going to take a building that we have here, and we were going to turn it into just a temporary shelter for the night or 2 nights, whatever. And myself and my sister and another, Miss Jane, we had gone out into the street to find the homeless people. To find the places we went to. They were horrible. There was a man who was living in a gas station. Behind the gas station, there was like a room. It looked like it was an old bathroom. That's what it looked like. It was filthy. He was on the floor under a tarp. Could you imagine sleeping in a filthy, nasty bathroom? On the floor, under a tarp. He looked like a pile of garbage. You would have walked right over him. He looked like a pile of garbage. And the only reason why we realized that was a person, because he moved. Because he had all this clothes and stuff, and he felt safer staying in that place because it was kind of hidden. That's what we deal with every day. To go into the woods and find a family living in the woods, with a tarp and kids. And we literally went in there to find them, to take them out, to bring them into some place that they could sleep in. That's horrible, horrible, So we have to do better. We have to do better. I'd say where are the funds? Where are the money? Where's the money and we're the people that always, when it's election time, talk about these things. Put your money where your mouth is, okay? Do something about the problem that you said you were going to do. These are people too, and they have a right to just live, just be in a better position than they are. We need to have somebody. If we have one person who cares, that person can affect somebody else. And you have one person in government that says, you know what, I'm going to make it my business to look at this town right here. You start with one town, and then it's a snowball effect. You go into the next town, and next town, and next town. At least we could see as a people somebody working for these people. Because when you get rid of the homeless, and don't get rid of them, when you don't want to arrest them, you want to help them. When you help the homeless, you're helping society in whole. You're bringing these people into jobs and you have jobs for them that can make them into a person who can take care of themselves. Then you don't have as much drug problem. I'm not going to say none, because you're going to always have drug problem. But then you won't have the loitering and the looting and the stealing and all those things, and people scared to go out at night because, like I said, that man looked like garbage on the floor. And thank God he is so harmless. But that you would have that if you just had one person who cared. One person who cared. I think that would solve some of the problem, because that one person can talk to somebody else. And if they could just do the job that they say they're going to do, that would be awesome. The homeless are people too. I was taught when I was a kid to speak to everybody. My mother said everybody is important. We are all God's children. He made everybody. Just because that person has a problem, that could be you one day. Okay? Like I said, we are all one paycheck away from being right there where these people are. And they're not something to look over. They're not something to just look away, give $1 to, and then that's it. These are people. We should help them. There was not a time. I've had a lady who came up to me and she said, "Oh, Miss Fawn, I love your boots." The next day I bought the boots to her. I literally took them off my feet and gave them to her. I've had people come up here and say, "Miss Fawn, I don't have any sneakers," because they know in this place that they can come to me and ask me for stuff, because I'm going to get it. If I don't have it, I will buy it. And that's what we should all do. We should all make sure that when we have enough food, your leftovers should be somebody else's food. Okay? We should all do a hand. We have to all give a hand in making sure that these people are okay, because they're people too. And we would not want, what would you, if that was your parents, if that was somebody you knew, your child, would you want somebody to help them? That's what we should do. Have a heart. Just have a heart. Just know that, God loves everybody. And we could be entertaining angels. That's what the Bible says. You never know who you're entertaining. I have helped so many people. And I'm not saying that to brag, because you never should let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. But I say that because we should all have a heart. Have a grateful heart, but we should all be filled with grace. Everybody, the lowest of the low, They need that same love. They need that same grace. Okay, we should be picking up. I am my brother's keeper. We should be picking up the next person. And that person will pick up the next person. And that person will pick up the next person. Okay, that's what I believe. And I think that if we are truly children of God, that's what we should be doing. Take care.
See, part about what that lady was saying is that it's unfortunate that in places like this right here, in these orange groves, you know, we find that the homeless stays in these orange groves. We find that, you know, many people come out here for a peace of mind, to be able to have somewhere to lay and sleep. I mean, you gotta think about it. Look at this place here. I mean, it's desolate. It's off the highway, but yet, you know what they face out here? Panthers, wild hogs, you know, even venomous snakes. I mean, this place here, I mean, look at that. Here's a chair where they have out here. You can see some clothes. You know, this is where the homeless come in order to seek refuge and just be able to live. Who wants to live in places like this? But this is what is forced upon us when life has its say in the things that we do and try to live. Can you imagine being out here living this way? And you see these places here? Run-down apartments, trailers. And a lot of times, this is our last chance of even having somewhere to stay. It doesn't probably low on rent, but you know, I heard about this place here, and it's full of drugs and people that party at night and whatnot, you know, so it makes it hard for people to be able to live. But look at what we're being subjected to. You know, nobody even caring. Sometimes there are shootouts out here. Sometimes people die out here. Sometimes there's just so much stuff going on in this world today that no matter what, you gotta be careful, because you can wind up in a place like this right here that you don't want to be, and it causes you all kind of hell and trouble. Then you wind up being homeless because really it's like the last place you have to go. Hey, how you doing, guys? I hope you all enjoyed the show today. Hey, happy holidays. You know, spend time with your loved ones at the same time. If you see somebody out there and you know they need food and everything, have a heart. Go ahead and stop and get them something too. Let's practice for this new year. Let's try to practice it for the new holidays. You know what I'm saying? Not just for the holidays, but let's do it for them throughout the year, throughout the whole year. Let's be generous this year, because we all might be there one day. How would you want to be treated? But peace, love, and happiness. Like, share, subscribe. Hey, like I said, happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Peace out.
Why